Sonia Uches' moment of sorrow. When everything started falling apart, Sonia Uch has given Nollywood fans plenty of emotional performances, but there is something particularly painful about watching her play a woman whose happiness slowly begins to disappear. At first, everything looks perfect. There is love. There is hope. There is a new beginning. There is the belief that after all the struggles, life is finally going to work out. But sometimes the biggest problems don't arrive with a warning. They enter quietly. That is exactly the kind of emotional tension viewers have seen in Sonia Uch and Brian Okwara's movie collaborations. In Uju's War, Sonia plays Uju, a newly married woman whose peaceful beginning with Benjamin, played by Brian Okwara, is disrupted when his mother comes into their home and refuses to leave. What begins with ordinary disagreements eventually becomes a much bigger battle inside the marriage. And this is where Sonia's moment of sorrow becomes so powerful. Imagine finally getting married to the person you love, only to discover that marriage isn't just about two people. Suddenly, every decision becomes an argument. What should be a simple conversation becomes a disagreement. What should be a peaceful evening becomes another confrontation. Even ordinary things like cooking, household responsibilities, and how the home should be run become sources of tension. For Uju, the hardest part isn't simply having an argument. It is feeling like she is losing control of the life she thought she had finally built. And the person standing between her and peace is someone she cannot simply walk away from, her husband's mother. That creates a different kind of pain. Because Uju is not just fighting for a house, she is fighting for her marriage. She wants Benjamin to understand her side. She wants him to recognize what she is going through. She wants him to stand beside her when things become difficult. But Benjamin finds himself caught in the middle. And that is where the emotional pressure becomes unbearable. Sonia's character is forced to deal with the kind of loneliness that can exist even when the person you love is sitting right beside you. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. That is what makes these scenes hit differently. Sonia Uch doesn't need to make every emotional moment loud. Sometimes the silence says everything. The look on her face, the hesitation before speaking, the frustration after another disagreement, all of these little moments make the character feel human. And viewers who have ever experienced family pressure, relationship problems or misunderstandings can easily connect with that emotion. But there is another interesting part of this story. Brian Okwara and Sonia Uch have become a recognizable on-screen pairing. Their filmography includes several collaborations, and African Movie Database currently lists Sonia Uch among Brian Okwara's most frequent co-stars, with 6 collaborations. Their chemistry is one reason viewers continue to pay attention whenever they appear together. But this is important. Their repeated movie appearances are on-screen collaborations, not proof that they are romantically involved in real life. And that's actually what makes their acting more interesting. They can make audiences believe in the relationship between their characters, even when the story takes a painful turn. In one moment, they can look like a happy couple. In another, they're standing on opposite sides of a serious argument. That emotional switch is what keeps viewers watching, and Sonia's sorrow becomes the heart of the story. You start wondering how much longer she can keep pretending that everything is fine. How many arguments can a marriage survive? How long can someone continue sacrificing their happiness just to keep peace in the family? And most importantly, what happens when the woman who has been patient for so long finally reaches her breaking point? That's where the real suspense begins. Because sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the one carrying the greatest pain. Sonia Uch has continued appearing in numerous 2026 Nollywood productions, including Where It Hurts, Renewed Love, The Perfect Union, A Fight for Love and Third Rule of Love. So when fans talk about Sonia's emotional moments, it is worth remembering that her strength comes from her ability to make fictional characters feel real. Her characters can smile while they're hurting. They can say they're okay when they're obviously not okay. They can keep fighting for a relationship even when they are exhausted, and eventually that bottled-up emotion has to come out. That is the beauty of a powerful Nollywood performance. The audience isn't just watching someone cry. They're watching a woman reach the point where she can no longer hide what she feels. And that is why Sonia Uch's moment of sorrow can leave such a strong impression. Because behind the tears is a bigger question. What happens when love is no longer enough to protect a relationship from outside pressure? That is the question that keeps the story alive. And it is exactly why viewers keep coming back for Sonia Uch and Brian Okwara's emotional movie collaborations.